Hopefully others will join, but they didn't join last time. I'm starting to think that that's going to be a trend today. Okay, this is the advanced class. In the advanced class, we cover items that most people are unfamiliar with, that are already familiar with the software for the most part. So they do the regular day-to-day business, but these are items that oftentimes people just don't even realize the software can do, or if they do know about it, they don't know how it's done. So what we're going to be doing is, in this advanced class, the first thing we're going to be talking about is emailing our staff. And the way that's done is we go to Setup, and from Setup, we go to our staff files. Yours might say esthetician files or stylist files or therapist files. In mine, it says operator files, and so we're going to click on that, and that brings up a list of all of the employees that are in the system. So I can click on any one of them, for instance, Christian here, and we should have an email address for him. If you don't, you might want to collect email addresses and put them in the corresponding files. So you have an email address, and right here where it says message, you just click on the message button. This allows me to send. I can type in a subject, type in a message, and hit send, and I get to send a message directly to Christian in this case. I could also, from any individuals, I can select all. This will put in every one of my staff members' email addresses. I can type in a subject and hit message, and this goes out to everybody now. So this could be for something like, don't forget about Friday's meeting at 12 o'clock or something like that. I can also select certain people, leaving other people unselected. And by doing that, I could send this to perhaps a group of people, but not everybody. Okay? Go ahead and unselect everybody and exit out of that. So that's one way to do it. By going into an individual's file and then going to message, you can send it to that individual, or you can send it to a group by checking others, or select all to check them all and then send it to everybody. You can also do that from the appointment book. So if I'm in the appointment book, I can right-click on anybody's name and do the same thing. This time I'm going to select email, and once again, type in a subject, type in a message, and send it out. It's exactly the same thing. Hit send and off it goes. I could check other people. I could hit select all. It's just another way to get to the same window. Now,
is there any way to can you see a draft that you sent that, or evidence that you sent it, or no?
Yeah, actually, there are reports that allow you to see from Darcy emails that have been sent and whether or not they have been opened. Exactly where that is, I would need to probably speak to a technician. To be honest with you, I don't know where that is. I apologize.
Okay.
I know where they are in Darcy, but yeah, not for that particular type thing. So something that you may want to speak to a technician about there.
Okay.
On that same vein, though, you can do the same thing with a client. So I could go to any client and go into their client information, and I can hit message. If that customer has an email address in, the email address will be there. You can type in a subject and a message and hit send. Notice there is no select all. This is not something that you will be able to do for all of your customers through this. This is a direct message to just that one client. Now, let me ask you, are you using the cloud version or an installed version?
I think it's the install.
Okay. If you were using the cloud version, you could also have access to the app. And if you're using the app, then there are different ways to send direct messages directly to your customers, and they can speak to you directly as well right through the app. It replaces text messaging or emails. It's a direct app conversation. So just want you to be aware of that. Okay. So that is emailing a staff or client. The next thing that we're going to talk about, we're going to jump here. We're going to go to social analytics. Here's something that a lot of people do not know exists in the software. I'm going to go to reports. And in reports, I'm going to select social analytics. That would be under, I believe that's under goals. No, graphs. I'm sorry. Under graphs. Under graphs, I have social analytics. And I'm going to click on that. And that's going to bring up a little window here that says, hey, you know what, you're not authorized for this. The reason it's telling me that is because for my little account there, I don't have it activated. But I do have one, and that's this one here. So this is what it could look like if you had it set up. Getting it set up is just a matter of requesting it. And it's free to you. Now, the social analytics is brought to you by a company called Social Beautify. And what they do is they allow you to see your Facebook, your Twitter, Instagram, things like that. And we, of course, show you what these graphs mean, but essentially what's going on here is it's telling you the posts that you have been putting on Facebook or Twitter, for instance, which of those posts are gaining traction? Which of those are the ones that people are actually paying attention to? Like this one here, if you're having a business problem, blah, blah, blah. That has 111 impressions. This one here only has 65 impressions. What's the difference between them? Also, who is looking at me and what cities are they in? Now, in our case, because we're international, we've got cities all over the place: Chicago, San Diego, Los Angeles, New York, Phoenix. In yours, it may just be the surrounding areas. But again, you're able to see what areas are really paying attention to what you're doing. You even have your demographics. When you're sending things out, whether they be Facebook posts or Twitters, etc., who's looking at them? Who's paying attention to them? And what are their ages? What is their sex? Things like that. So you're able to, this should help you generate posts that are more engaging to your customers. So you can start focusing on exactly what it is you're looking for. For instance, if you did a post that was, almost exclusively women seem to like it or share it or comment on it, and you wanted to speak to women, then a post similar to that one would be a great way to reach them. If just the opposite, if you said, I want a post that's going to speak directly to men, you want to see what it was about that post that engaged so many women and maybe do things a little bit differently. Again, social analytics allows you to see in graphical format what's working for you and what's not on your Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Okay? So that is available to you as well. You just need to ask for that. Another thing,
so
I'm going to jump again. Go ahead.
To ask for it, do I have to set it up like with a technician, like technical support type of thing?
Technical support's not where you would do it. You would send an email to info@prosolutionssoftware.com, and you would let them know that you would like your social analytics activated. And then they can walk you through the steps of doing that. I can tell you that in order to have your social analytics activated, you will have to give the software, in fact, you'll be giving Darcy authority as someone that manages the page. So for instance, you would be giving us your information for your Facebook page and making Darcy a Facebook manager, or for instance, a Twitter manager or something like that. And then yes, those will be active for you and you'll be able to see them. But they'll walk you through the steps of exactly how that's done. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to jump again to a completely different subject here. Again, we're just going through a list of things that people are usually unfamiliar with. So in this case, we're going to go into inventory. And I'm going to pull up a product here. Let's go to my Justin All-in-One shampoo that I just use for everything. So here I am in my product, and there's a button here that a lot of people don't know about, and that button says Activity. If I click on that button, it shows me everything that's happened with that product, everything. Now, I've got all here selected right now, so I am, in fact, looking at everything. If I say Received Only, then it's going to show me the purchase orders that I created with this product on them that have been received. If I say Sales Only, it will show me all of the sales that this product was involved in. Now, for instance, you'll notice all of these question marks where it says by whom. That's because I have my password protection turned off. If I had it on, which I did in this case, I can see that Debbie made that sale on June 8th of 2010. So if you have password protection for the sales, it will give you the people who actually did it. If you don't, you'll get question marks like so. Okay? That's for sales. We also have returns. If merchandise returns were done involving this product, you'll have the timestamp, the date, you'll have the transaction number, etc. And then manual adjustments. If you did manual adjustments, it will have a record of those as well. And it will even tell you who did the manual adjustment, again, if you have password protection on it. Okay? So those are your different items under activity. Any questions on that before I continue?
No.
Okay. Now, there is a separate class for the online store. And so we're really not going to be talking about the online store in this class, but in this class, what we do is just mention it. We make people aware of what the online store is because it's part of your software and it's free to you. And a lot of people don't take advantage of it. But the online store allows your customers to book their own appointments online. It also allows your customers to purchase gift certificates or gift cards online, and it allows your customers to purchase retail products online. And when you have set up your online store, you get to choose the artwork, you get to choose the colors, you get to choose the verbiage. So your online store is there for you to use. And a lot of people are they're not even familiar with it. They see this button, they click on it, and they see all of this here. Of course, it's all blank white because you haven't filled anything in, and they're confused and they just ignore it. Don't know what that is, going to move on. So we do have an online class, but I want you to be aware that that exists. It's part of your software, and it's free because it's already something you're paying for with your monthly subscription. So, you have the ability to do appointments online. You have the ability to sell gift certificates online, etc. That's all part of your software. Okay, moving on. Now we're going to talk about the month view. I know that you were in my... I'm sorry, was there a question?
You're good. No, okay. You're good. Sorry, it's
okay.
the reader.
No problem. Okay, I remember that from earlier. I'll try to keep that in mind. In fact, if you'll just say, I have a question, whenever you have a question, then if I hear anything other than that, I'll just ignore it, okay? Okay. All right. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the month view. Now, because I know you were in my earlier class, we talked about the day view screen and the week view screen when booking an appointment. What we did not address was the month view. It's very different. But again, you can get into it from different screens. For instance, if I'm in my appointment book, I can click on this button that says month view, and that brings up this month view window. I could also, from my main screen, go to appointments and select month view, and there it is again. And again, if I was in sales, I can go to book appointments and choose month view, and there it is again. So what is it and how does it work? Well, let's go into month view. Here's my window, and the month view starts with the day that you currently are on. So today is October 10th. So my 10th is italicized. That's the day you're starting on. Every day after that, that is in black, is a day that you could book an appointment on. Any day that is gray, you would not be able to book an appointment on. So for instance, if you were closed on Halloween and you marked it closed, then this day here would be gray. The others would still be black. If you're closed on Saturdays or Mondays, these would be gray as well. The others would be black. So you are left with just the days that you can book appointments on. Now you might say, well, big deal. I know what those days are in my head. I don't need to see a calendar like that. Well, that's fine, because the next thing is to choose an operator. So for instance, let's say I choose Debbie here. When I choose Debbie, other days within this calendar may have just grayed out because she may be very busy on a particular day, maybe booked full. So if she was booked full on the 18th and the 19th, then the 18th and the 19th would have just grayed out. So again, you're left with just the days that you can book appointments now, in this case for Debbie. Next, I would choose a service, like an anti-curl with haircut. This is a 2-hour-long service with Debbie. So if she did not have 2 full hours, she may have, let's say on the 21st, for instance, she's got a bunch of appointments, and she's got a bunch of openings as well, half hour here, half hour there, maybe even an hour here or there, but she doesn't have 2 full hours together. Well, if that was the case, then the 21st would have just grayed out if on that day she didn't have 2 full hours to give. And you could even choose an additional service for Debbie. So let's go with, whoops, not my duration. Let's go with something like a back facial. So now I've got a full 3 hours that Debbie requires. If she had any days in this month where she didn't have 3 full hours available, they would gray out, again, leaving you with just the days that she's able to perform those services. So once we have a day that we want, we can just click on it, and we will be shown the available times for that day for those services, just the available times. Notice if I choose the 10th, I've got different times available. If I choose the 26th, I have different times available. Again, it's based on what times she has available for those services. So let's say on the 26th at 3 o'clock, that's what we're going to go with. Thursday, October 26th at 3 p.m. Now I can choose my customer. We'll go with Walter Eckwald here. And, well, that's a woman's haircut, so not that it matters for our purposes, but let's just go with Alicia here and choose my client type. We'll go with a request. Now I can book it. So this is for Thursday, October 26th for an anti-curl and a back facial with Debbie for Alicia Eckenrode, and it's at 3 o'clock on the 26th. We're going to go ahead and book it. If any rooms are required, it'll ask. The appointments have been booked. Let's take a look. Let's go to the 26th. I'm going to go to my calendar here, go to the 26th and accept. And I should be able to see under, there we go. there's Alicia at 3 o'clock for an anti-curl with haircut and a back facial at 5 o'clock. They booked just fine. That is the month view screen. Do you have any questions for me on the month view?
No.
All right. Okay, so moving on. The next thing we're going to talk about is locking and unlocking columns. By the way, if you're already familiar with it, you can tell me to just skip it. Are you familiar with locking and unlocking columns? I'm sorry, you do already know how?
Yeah. I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Do you know anything, if we have anything where we can set up like a point system for rewards for clients?
Absolutely. That's actually part of this class, and we will be getting to that. So yes, we do have a point system. It is part of your software. It's nothing else that you need to purchase or anything. It's already part of your software. In this class, we go over the real basics of it. The reason I say that is because what we need you to do, everybody's is different. Everybody sets up their points programs differently. In fact, you know what, let's just skip to that and then we'll get back to the other things. Let's go to the points program now. But I want you to be aware that the points program itself usually takes about an hour by itself. So what I'm going to do is show you the basics of it so that you know that it's in the system and you get a brief understanding of how it works. With that brief understanding, what I want you to do is determine how you want your points program to work, and then you'll schedule a specific time with me to set up your points program the way you want your points program to work. And that's why we don't do it in a class like this, because everybody's is a little bit different. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about it. First things first, I'm going to go into sales. Before we talk about setting it up or getting it working or anything like that, mine's already set up and working. So what I want to do is I just want to show you how we can use it, and then we'll get into some of the nitty-gritty of it. So I'm going to pull up a customer here, and oh yes, we closed our drawer. Yes, I'm going to reopen, and I am going to pull up Miss Babcock. So Michelle Babcock here has 2,793 points. Okay, it says right there, right next to her picture of her pretty little face there. 2,793 points Michelle Babcock has. And she saw Christian, and she got a, we'll go with that color one step again. Well, no, in fact, we'll do an anti-curl with haircut. That costs $171. Well, it actually costs $180, but she got 5% off automatically. Do you know why? Because she is a gold member. How do I know that? I can click on this, and I can see she's a gold member, and she gets 5% off her services and retail just by being a gold member. So we've got she owes me $171. Now we're going to go to payment. And she would like to use her points. She has 2,793 points. And right here, this little bag of money here, this is the rewards points button. If I click on this, it tells me, look, she needs 3,600 points for an anti-curl and haircut. She's only got 2,793. Now I've got two options. I have one option, which is known as the cash value option, and the other, which is the freebie option. So let's see how mine is set up right now. I'm going to check this box. This is the cash value option. This allows me to use however many points she has, and it will then say, this is how many points she's using, but this is how many points she needs, so it's going to apply a percentage based on that. In this case, she owes me $171, and if she uses up all of her points, it will apply $132.67. So she'll owe me about $39 more that she'll have to pay with cash, check, or credit card. But in this case, she is using points. Now I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to go to Setup, Preferences, General. You don't have to remember this, because remember, we're going to set it up together when you do it. But I'm going to say, do not allow partial point redemptions. Don't allow them. By doing that, I'm saying this is not going to be cash value. This is going to be freebie, meaning if they have enough points, they can get it for free. If they don't have enough points, they can't use their points at all. So we go to payment. She would like to use her points. Click. She needs 3,600. She's only got 2,793. Check. Not enough points for this item. Can't use it. Can't use her points. Now, does that mean that she's stuck? No. What if she had other things? Like, for instance, she also saw Debbie and got a blow dry and curl. Okay, we go to payment. She would like to use her points. She has enough points to get the blow dry and curl for free. So it'll reduce that from what she owes me. But she doesn't have enough points for that. So, okay, she can only get the blow dry and curl for free, but she still has to pay for the ant curl with haircut. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now that we see how it works, and by the way, on the receipt, it will show how many points your customer has. Whether they get that receipt emailed to them or printed, on the bottom of the receipt, it will show how many points they have available to them. So let's talk a little bit about how that was set up. I'm going to go to Setup, Preferences, General. Again, you don't have to remember this because when you're ready, we'll go over it together. But what I want you to think about is how you want to set your points program up. So I'm going to go here to where it says Enable Points Program, uncheck it and check it again. Yours would already be unchecked, but once you uncheck and check it again, or just simply check it if it was already blank, it will open up this window, the Points Program Setup window. It's a little bit confusing looking, but that's why we go over it with you once you have your idea of how it works. But I just want to go over some of the basics here. If you said, we're going to have a really streamlined, really easy, really standard points program, and it's just going to be based on dollars, and it's going to be for everything. It's going to be for services, it's going to be for products, it's going to be for everything. And we're simply going to say that if you spend $1 in our shop, you're going to earn a point. So if you spend $50, you get 50 points. You spend $500, you get 500 points. Really basic, really simple. That is my earnings ratio. And I've said that's $1 earns 1 point. Really basic. Then I can go into my redemption ratio. And I can say 10 points, though, equals $1. Well, if I did that, then that would be, you would need 1,000 points to get a $100 service for free. You would need 2,000 points to get a $200 service for free, or 100 points to get a $10 product for free. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if you had it on cash value and you said, look, this is a $100 service and 10 points equals $1, so you need 1,000 points to get this $100 service for free, but they've only got 900 points. If you had it on cash value, they could use those 900 points and they would get 90% off. So at a $100 service, they would only owe you $10. They would use up their 900 points and still owe you $10. But on the freebie, if it was 1,000 and they had 900 points, and you said, okay, let's use the points. Oops, you're going to need another 100 points before you can get this for free. Or you could use your 900 points on things that cost less than that. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. So this is really basic. I just set up an earnings ratio of 1-to-1 and a redemption ratio of 10-to-1. Now I'm going to tell you a little story. And that story is a client of ours. This is a real story, but it's just anecdotal, so take it for whatever you think it's worth. We had a client in Beverly Hills, have a client in Beverly Hills. They're still our client. And they had their points program set up. And they had it set up very similar to this. Dollar equals a point, redemption is 10 points equals $1. Okay. And they were trying to get people to sign up for their points program. And they were offering it for, I think, $10 a month. Nobody was signing up. Nobody was signing up. They contacted us. They were like, any ideas? And we were like, I mean, it's your points program, market it, of course. Try to explain to people why it's important, but, hey, everybody's a little different. A salon in Peoria, Illinois is definitely going to have a different structure than a salon in Beverly Hills, California. So they brought in a consultant to go over a whole bunch of things. And that was one of the things that they mentioned to their consultant. And their consultant said, well, tell me how you're doing it. And so they explained it. And he said, and you're telling people then that they're getting what, a 10% discount? Because basically they would have to get 10 products to get a free one, or they would have to get 10 services to get a free one. So it was essentially 10% off because they were doing it as cash value. And that's how they were marketing it as well. They were saying 10% discount, and nobody was signing up. And she said, let's change this. Change it to 50-to-1. That would mean you would need 5,000 points to get a $100 service. And they were thinking, well, why on earth, if we can't do 10-to-1, why would anyone sign up for 50-to-1, which is much worse? It's 2% to be exact. Instead of 10%, it's 2%. Well, why would anyone do that? She said, well, because you need to market it differently. Stop saying you're getting a 10% discount and start saying you're getting 2% cash back. Totally different way of thinking about it, totally different way of marketing it. The people in Beverly Hills were now being sold for $100 a month instead of $10 a month for a 10% off, because their consultant explained to them, people in Beverly Hills don't want to see 10% off. That's not the discount they're looking for. They're not even really looking for discounts. If they're coming to you, they could get a $50 haircut down the street. They can get a $275 haircut from you. They're not really looking for a discount. But what they are looking for is some kind of cachet. So stop calling it a 10% discount offer and start calling it the VIP, VIP program or something like that. But they gave it a fancy name. I forget what it was, but they gave it a fancy name, and it gave you all of these different specials and 2% cash back. And then she explained to them, you've got celebrities on the TV every night telling people, drilling it into their head, how valuable 1% cash back is, 2% cash back is. Let them do your marketing for you in that respect. People don't see 10% off as a discount, but they hear 2% cash back, and Samuel L. Jackson is telling them what's in your wallet, how important is 2% cash back. All of a sudden, you've got Samuel L. Jackson telling you that that's valuable. And all of a sudden, they started selling. It was significantly worse for their customers, but now they were selling. And so it's different everywhere. So that's why I share that story. The same program in one location does not work in another location. I can tell you we've got clients who have heard that story and went for it, and nobody wanted it. And then they started doing the 10% off, and everybody wanted it. Why? Because they were in an area where that was valuable. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So you can, just very briefly, this is the blanket one, but you could say individual groups have different earnings ratios and redemption ratios, or even individual services. And on categories of products, you can say whole categories have different earnings ratio and redemption ratios, or individual products have different earnings ratios and redemption ratios. So you can really get customized. So you might say, for instance, that a Swedish massage earns you earns you a point for every dollar you spend, and you need 10 points for every dollar in redemption. But then you might say that a European facial, might earn you 2 points for every dollar, and might get 5 points equals $1. So they're going to collect points much faster and be able to use them much earlier if they're getting facials than if they were getting massages. This is a way to direct people to perhaps start getting things that maybe they weren't getting in the past. Maybe things that, you can do that with product that isn't moving well. Maybe that product is earning triple points, and product that is flying off your shelf and you can't keep it, maybe you don't even have points on it. Or maybe it's just, one. So, hey, that stuff moves, so why give a discount on it? This stuff isn't moving, we're going to discount it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can do that with points as well. You can also offer points for things like referrals. Now, technically, you can offer points for gift certificates and packages and series, but I always say, look, think of it like this. Do your points program on services, on retail, and referrals, nothing else. And the reason for that is because if somebody buys a gift certificate, let's say for $100, and they just got 100 points for that, then they use that gift certificate to get a $100 service, they get another 100 points. That's 200 points, and maybe that's not what you wanted. So gift certificates and packages and series, we don't want to double up our points. Just get them the points when they actually get the service. So that would be services, retail, and referrals. Right. And you could say, for instance, a referral, of course, doesn't have a dollar amount. When somebody gives you a referral, they can earn a certain amount. Like, for instance, maybe you say, hey, referrals give you 2,000 free points. So when they get a referral assigned to them, they instantly got 2,000 points. Okay? Now, once we have set up our points program the way we want it set up, then we go to Setup, Configuration, General, Rewards, Membership Setup. Now, I'm going to show you 3 different types. You can have an unlimited number of programs, of loyalty programs, but I'm going to show you 3 of them. And by the way, when I say an unlimited number, that also means you get to name them whatever you want. So I've got a whole bunch here, but I'm going to just talk about these 3, bronze, silver, and gold. And we might touch on platinum, but let's talk about bronze first. Bronze is free. Doesn't cost anything to sign up to be a bronze member. And bronze memberships give no discounts on services. and no discounts on retail and get no comp services, and they earn no services. But what they do get is your points program. So once you've set up your points program, you can give away bronze membership. So you can say, hey, would you like to join our points program for free on our bronze level? Then you're going to earn, and let's just say you did the blanket one that I showed you, you're going to earn a point for every dollar you spend. And then you could, every time you've got 10 points, you can spend it like $1 here in the shop, like airline miles. Okay? Great. That's the bronze membership, giving it away for free, and it does nothing but earn points. Now let's talk about silver membership. The silver membership, I tell my customers, that's $10 a month. This is the way I set it up. Again, you set them up any way you want. That's $10 a month, and you get a 2.5% discount on all services. And you get a 2% discount on all retail. You get no comp services. You earn no services, but your points program, you get a 2-to-1 ratio. That means if you spend $10, you get 20 points. You spend $100, you get 200 points. So you're going to earn points faster to get things free or faster. That's silver. Then I've got my gold membership. That's $100 a month. You get 5% off all services, 5% off all retail. You get a free bang trim. When you walk in the door, you can get a bang trim and never pay for it. As long as you're a gold member, you'll never pay for a bang trim. That is a comped service. As a gold member, bang trims are yours. I've seen people do this here for parking. They've got parking costs. They actually comp parking. So you really can think of it any way you want. Gold members get free parking. Then we've got our points options. In this case, yes, gold gets points again. And this time it's a 3-to-1 ratio. So you spend $100, you get 300 points instead of 100 like a bronze member does, because you're spending $100 a month with me to be part of this program. And then we've got down here, in this case, the gold membership is earning services. Every month you get 1 free French manicure. And if I check this box that says services accumulate, if they didn't use their French manicure in October, then in November they get 2 free French manicures. And if they didn't use that, then in November they'll have 3 free French manicures. And maybe that's what they were waiting for, so they can come in with 2 of their girlfriends and all 3 of them get free French manicures together. But if that's not checked, then this is a use it or lose it. If they get a free French manicure for October, but if they don't use it, they get 1 in November. And if they don't use that, they've got 1 in December. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And again, if it accumulates, if they don't use it, they start building up. If it's not checked, they don't accumulate. They get 1 a month. Use it or lose it. And then we've got this one down here, can be redeemed towards other services. So what I'm saying is that the value of my French manicure is $25. Or in this case, because it's 10-to-1, it would be 250 points is the value of the French manicure. So I'm saying this can be redeemed towards other services. They don't want a French manicure, but they do want something else. And they want to use the 250 points that this is worth against something else. And if that's checked, they can do it. If it's not, it's a French manicure or nothing. Make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Lots of different ways for you to set that up. And then once set up, all you need to do is sell it. So, Miss Grady, there's Andrea. And she would like to be a bronze member. She doesn't want to pay anything for it. She just wants to be a bronze member. So we're going to go to membership. And we're going to sell her a bronze membership for free. Doesn't need to be on recurring billing because it's free. And accept. She owes me nothing. We go to payment. We still have to process the transaction. The total is 0. Do you want to process this anyway? Yep. We're going to accept nothing in cash and accept. Miss Grady is now a bronze member. The next time she comes in, if you had a picture of her, it would be here. If not, look at, and it's she has 0 points. She comes in and she's Christian. She gets a Brazilian blowout for $365. She pays for it, however she pays for it. Let's just say with check number 234, and accept, done. A few weeks later, Miss Grady comes back in. She's got 365 points. And she saw Kara. No, let's get with somebody who actually has services. She saw Anna. She got an acrylic fills for $45. And we go to payment. she can earn another 45 points by paying for this with cash or check or credit card or gift certificate or series. But maybe she wants to use her points. She needs 900 points. She's only got 365. Click, not enough points, can't use them. But what if it was cash value? Let's take a look. We go to payment. She needs 900. She's only got 365. Check. It's going to apply $18.25 off of the $45 that she owes me. Make sense?
Yeah.
And then her receipt will show how many points she has. So that is the points program. And yes, it's part of your software. It's already available to you. There is actually a video on our website that explains how to set it up and walks you through it. But again, it's a little different for everybody. So what I recommend is once you say, okay, this is the way we want our points program to be, this is the way we want our loyalty program to be, and we're going to have 2 or 3 of them, or we're just going to have one, whatever it is, schedule a time with someone like me, and we'll...
So how do I schedule it? Do I just go through support, or do I have to send an email?
You can.
Or...
You can do that as well. There's lots of different ways to schedule. All you need to do is get in touch with us. If you call our 800 number and say, I need to schedule time to set up my points program with Matt because you want to work with me, no problem. Then they'll either transfer you to me and I'll go open up my calendar and book it, or they'll transfer you to somebody who has control over my calendar and they'll book it for you. Lots of different ways to do it. So you could call, you could go to the support chat and say, I need to schedule a time to set up my points program with Matt. Again, same thing. They'll book it for you, or they'll give it to somebody who can, etc. So lots of different ways to do it. And you could even send an email and say the same thing. Okay?
Okay.
The only problem with an email is, they may get to it that day, they may not. Usually it's within 24 hours. So if you wanted it scheduled for tomorrow morning, I would say an email is probably not the best idea.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Or even for later this afternoon or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's the points program. The next thing that we're going to be talking about is refunds. Are you familiar with refunds?
Yeah.
Okay. And you know that you can mix and match refunds and sales on the same ticket, right?
You know what usually happens? We usually run a transaction. We usually run the transaction through wrong, and then we go back and refund. But go ahead, show me.
All right, let's talk about it a little bit. So let's say that somebody comes in like Andrea Grady. She saw Kathy. She got a blow dry and curl. She owes me $50. And she also last week bought a product, and that is the Justin All-in-One shampoo. She looked at the ingredients, realized that there was something on it that she's allergic to, and has brought it back to me unopened. Okay, I'm going to give her a refund. In order to do a refund, I click this box here that says refund. And then I can pull that product up and choose the person whose commission is about to get tagged, but you guys don't do commission, so. And now she only owes me $29 because she's being refunded the shampoo, but she's paying for the blow dry and curl. So this is having a refund on the same ticket as a sale. So that's one way to do it. Now let me remove that item. Now, Andrea Grady saw Kathy for a blow dry and curl. She owes me $50. I'm going to check this box. Does that make this a refund? No, because it was pulled up as a sale. By clicking this and making this blue, anything I add to this ticket will be a refund. So maybe Christian said, I shouldn't have charged her for that bang trim that she got last time she was here. And so we're going to refund that to her. So now she owes me $40 for that. I've got a bang trim refund on that same ticket. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, of course, if all they're doing is a refund, you can do that as well. Somebody walks through the door and says, I need to return this. Miss Grady comes in and says, I need to return this product. She's not getting any services. She's not buying any other product. I just need to return this product. No problem. I'm going to pull up Miss Grady. And I'm going to click on refund before I do anything else and say that she's getting $21 back. And I go to payment, and I can either take that $21 out of my drawer and hand it to her, or if she's got the credit card that she used and I'm processing directly through the software, then it might look like this, and I can put the $21 back on her credit card. If I'm not processing through the software, then I could take her credit card and do the refund on my separate terminal outside of the software, but I still want a record of it so that my reporting is accurate, so that I know that I actually gave $21 back. In this case, though, it wasn't cash. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's important for when you're closing, because if it thinks it was cash, then your drawer's going to be off when you do your deposits.
Right.
All right. So you can mix and match refunds and sales on the same ticket, or you can just do straight refunds. It's up to you. When you're refunding a product, by the way, it's going to ask you a question. Whenever you refund a product, it's going to say, would you like to return this product to inventory? If she returned it to me unopened, probably yes. If she used it, got a little bit of a rash and said that's why she's returning it, you're going to throw it in the trash. You're going to say no to that. And that's in your inventory here. If she returned it and the software said, do you want to return this to inventory? If you said yes, then your returned would now turn to 10 and your ending quantity would go from 22 to 23. If you said no, nothing would happen. The returned would still be 9 and your ending quantity would still be 22 because you threw it away. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's refunds. Any questions on that before we continue?
No.
Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is modifying a transaction. Are you familiar with modifying transactions?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll skip that then. Points program would normally have come next, so we'll skip that. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is promotions. There are 4 different types of promotions in the software. There are employee promotions, there are service promotions, retail promotions, and rewards points promotions. 4 different types of promotions. The first 3 that I just described are all very similar, and they all give discounts. Now, the important thing to note about a promotion is that the promotion is going to work whether your front desk staff is aware of it or not. So the customer, for instance, does not have to present a coupon to make the promotion work. They just need to fit within the parameters of the promotion that you set. So let's do it. I'm going to go here to Other. And under Other, I've got Rewards Promo, Retail Promo, Service Promo, and Operator Promo. We'll start with Operator Promo. So promotions, of course, work with your advertising. But before we get to that, let's talk about this. My promotion description. What do I want to call this? I'm going to call this my Angie's. No, I'm not, because I'm going to do it for more than one. I'm going to call this my ladies massage. Okay. Then my effective dates are going to be from, let's say, Saturday the 14th to Sunday the 15th. Let's just pretend you're open on Sundays. Saturday and Sunday this weekend. And then my group is going to be massage. These are all the people that can perform massages. So this is by operator. And I'm going to say Abigail and Anna, Debbie, Maureen, Michelle, and Sarah. Then notice I left Christian off. Then I'm going to apply a discount code. This is a coupon that you've already created. All of my coupons are listed here. Every coupon I've ever created is going to be listed here. So here I've got my massage promo. So maybe I go with that one. Or maybe you create a brand new one. So I've got my massage promo, but maybe that doesn't work for me. Maybe I need a new one. So I'm going to go to my discount codes and create a brand new promo. Maybe call this M3. Oh, I've already got one in there called M3. Let's go with M4. That's my code. Oh, great. M5. Okay, so that I've used up these. All right, let's go with C3. And now I can give it a new name. Or wait, do I already have that in? No, I just need to clear this. I'm sorry. Discount codes, C3. There we go. And my description, this is going to be my ladies massage. Now, don't worry about the C3. That can be anything you want it to be. The code can be anything. So it could be LM or something like that. I was just trying to find something that I hadn't used before. So I've got my ladies massage here, and I'm going to say that it's 10% off. And I'm not going to hit this, because if I hit this, then this would apply to everything on the ticket, discount all. But no, it's only going to apply to what I'm doing here, the massages.
Right.
And now I'm going to accept. Oh, I can also say no effect on commission or it does affect their commission, but if you're not running commission, it doesn't matter. And accept, done. So now we can go in here and find our ladies massage that we just created. There it is. And save. What am I about to do when I hit save? I'm about to create a promotion that if somebody comes in and gets any massage on the 14th or the 15th, and it is provided to them by Abigail or Anna or Debbie, Maureen, Michelle, or Sarah, they're going to get 10% off automatically. My front desk doesn't even have to be aware of it. If they come in on those days and get a massage, and it's done by any of my ladies, they get an automatic 10% off. So I save that. So now I can advertise. Now I can send a message out that says, hey, our ladies are having a special on massage this weekend. Get a massage with any of our female massage therapists and get 10% off this weekend only. So now you're advertising it, however you advertise it. And then when people come in and they get a massage on Saturday or Sunday and it's with one of the ladies, they get the 10% off. They get it with Christian, they don't get a discount. Make sense?
Yep.
Now, I could have done that with just one person. Maybe Abigail was brand new to me. I just hired her. And so I advertise her. Next week, all next week, any services you get. So I call it Abigail's, and my group is going to be something like all groups, and all of my people will be there, and I just check Abigail. So then I say to everybody, I advertise all next week, Monday through Sunday, get any service with our brand new therapist, Abigail, and get 15% off. So now you're trying to build up her client base. Does that make sense?
Yep.
That is an operator promotion. Now, the others we're going to go over much faster because they're similar to that. Setup, other, service promo. This time we're doing it based on services instead of based on people. So I can choose one like my facial promo that I've already created here. And then I put in my date range, February 10th to February 13th. And this is for my light facials. And I say that they're going to get my AA discount, whatever that is. I think that's 20% off on my light facial 2.5 and my light facial 90. So now I advertise Friday through Sunday or whatever those days are, because this is past already, obviously, it's expired. But you put in your date range. So this weekend only or next week or for the entire month of October, our special light facial promotion is being run for whatever date range you've put in. Come in, get a light facial during this date range, and get that discount. That's all there is to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And other retail promo, same thing, except this is based on products. So I go with my Paul Mitchell product, for instance. And in this date range, for Paul Mitchell products, you choose your vendor, choose your manufacturer, all of the products that you get from that manufacturer or that are that manufacturer will be listed. And you simply put a check next to the ones that are going to be on your promo. Create your discount and save. And once again, you let them know, next week, all Paul Mitchell products are 20% off. This weekend only, all Kerastase products are 5% off, whatever it is. Make sense?
Cool. Yeah.
All right. Then we're going to go, and by the way, it doesn't have to be all. Notice when I went there and I said all my Paul Mitchell products were checked. What if some of them weren't? So I could have said all Paul Mitchell shampoos are 10% off, because then maybe I didn't check off my Paul Mitchell conditioners or my pomades or my creams or anything, just my Paul Mitchell shampoos. Okay, so moving on. Now this is the only one that's different. The rewards promo, very different than the way the other ones are. The rewards promo only works, of course, if you have your points program set up and your rewards program set up. But this is the way it works. We can give it a promotion name. Like, let's say, we'll go with, no, let's not do products again, but we could. We'll call this face promo. So this is our face promo. And then I could go down and say, my everything in Botox and facials and light facials are going to be, and we'll load those up. So this is everything that I've got in my Botox, my facials, and my light facials. And I'm going to check those products off, all but my light facial 30 perhaps. And then what's my factor? My factor can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever I want it to be. Just don't make it 1 or it's not going to be a promo. So my factor is 2. And my effective dates then, whatever I want them to be. So now I could say something like, this weekend only, earn double points on all facial services, including Botox and light facials. Or I could have done it by product. This weekend only, earn double points on all Kerastase products, or double points on all conditioners, or whatever it is. I could load them up, choose what I want. The point is by having a factor of 2, my bronze members spend $100, but if it's during this promo and they're getting one of the things that fits that parameter, they'd get 200 points instead of 100. My silver members spend $100. They normally get 200 points, so they'll get 400. And my gold members that spend 100, they normally get 300 points. They'll get 600. If I made it a factor of 3, just duplicate everything by 3. Bronze members spend 100, they'd get 300 points. Silver members spend 100, they'd get 600 points. And gold members spend 100, and they would get 900 points. Make sense?
Yep.
All right. So you choose your factor, you choose what applies, put in your effective dates, and activate. And once those days start, you don't have to think about it again. If somebody walks through the door and they are a member, in other words, they earn points, and they buy a product that's part of your special, they're going to get double points. Your front desk staff doesn't have to do anything to make it happen. They get a service that fits those parameters. They're going to get double points, triple points, whatever it is you've set it up for. If they're not on your points program, they won't earn any points, no matter what your factor is. They have to be part of your points program to earn points. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is the fortune teller. Now, and this is actually kind of the last thing we talk about here, but I'm going to open it to any questions that you might have. But the fortune teller, in reports, I'm going to go to goals. And in goals, I've got fortune teller. Now, the fortune teller has 2 scenarios, scenario 1 and scenario 2. Now, your scenarios are going to look 100 times different than what I'm about to show you. What I'm just going to show you, though, is so that you have an understanding of how it works. But because I'm using sample data, and I only run a couple of transactions a week in my sample, these numbers are going to be exceedingly low. But just watch. I can choose an individual employee, or I can go with all operators. Now, I know it already says all operators, but you need to check it if that's what you want. Click, and it fills in for you. And what it's doing is, on scenario 1, it's telling you what your current trends are. So when you do this on your end, it might take as much as 30 seconds to load up, depending on how much data you have in. But it's going to tell you what your current trends are based on your last 3 months worth of sales. And it's going to tell you how many active clients you have, what your active client retention is, how many new customers per month you're getting, averaging, what your new client retention is, how often your customers are visiting you each year, and what your average service ticket is, what your average retail ticket is, and what your total sales are going to be based on the year. So it takes your trends and it extrapolates them off over the entire year. And so what it's saying is, these are your current trends, and if everything stays this way, this is what your year is going to look like, okay? That's scenario 1, and you can't change this. This is real. You can't change it. This is what's really going on right now. Scenario 2 duplicates that information, but allows you to make changes. This is what if. Okay, well, what if I had 22 active customers? Look at the number here, 235134. Here it is, 235134, and enter. Now it's 243613. I just had 2 more active clients. My active client retention is 7.69. Oh, we can do better than that. What if we got it up to 10%? Our total sales are now 2716. My new customers per month, 1. What if we had 2 new customers a month? What does that do to our total sales? My new client retention is 0. What if it was 5%? What does that do to my total sales? The point is, what this is doing is allowing you to see what your return is going to be before you invest your time or your effort or your money. So when a consultant comes in and says, okay, your numbers are kind of low. If you spend $1,000 and put up this standee and do this work, then you should be able to see this change. So plug that change in and see what that change is going to do for you. Is it worth the time and the money that you just put into it? Now, your numbers are going to be significantly different, but the reason it's called a fortune teller is because when you make your changes, and make subtle changes, by the way, in other words, realistic changes. Let's say the number of active clients you have is 680, and you say, you know what, we could push that up to 700 or 730. Fine, but don't change 680 to 5,000. That's not realistic.
Right.
Your active client retention should be over 60%. Okay, industry standard should be over 60%. If your number is ridiculously low, like mine, that's absurd. But yours might be 65%, 70%. And you say, you know what? Even though that's an industry standard, I really think we could push this. We could get our current customers to come more often, and get that up, bump that number up to 75% from 70%. But you wouldn't change 65% to 90%. That's not realistic. Make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Finally, we get to our new customers per month. You know, you should, industry standard, be seeing at least one new customer per employee per month. If you've got 10 employees, your number should at least be 10. It could be a lot more than that, but it should at least be 10. Okay? And hopefully it is more than that. But that's a bare minimum number. So if it's less than that, if it's less than one per employee, then you probably want to focus on that. But whatever you're going to focus on, think about plugging it in here to the number you think you can get it to reasonably, and then see what that does. I've seen people change one of these numbers just a little bit and earn another $20,000 a year because they've got big numbers to start with.
Yeah.
Now, here's an important one, the frequency of visits. This is one of the most common that people don't pay much attention to. How often do your customers actually visit you every year? In a hair salon, that number might be as close to 12. You know, in other words, once a month, they're coming to visit you.
Right.
In a day spa, it might be 6 or 5. Again, that's going to depend on your customers. Now, you're a salon and spa. As a salon and spa, you may have customers that only come to you for spa services, and 6 times a year for them is reasonable. And then you've got people who only come to you for salon services. 12 times a year for them is reasonable. But when you take a look at something like this, let's say your average is 12, and you're like, okay, my customers are coming to me once a month. That's not a bad average. That's a really good average. Once a month, great. But what if I changed that to 13? Not going from 12 to 24. We're not going to try to get our customers to come in twice as often as they come now. I just want to change it. I just want them to come in 1 time more a year than they're coming in now. That is a significant change. Why? Because if you've got, let's say, 3,000 regular customers over the course of a year, they come in 36,000 times if they're coming in once every month. That's 3,000 customers coming in once a month times 12. That's 36,000 visits. Okay? If you got them to come in just 1 more time a year, that's 3,000 more sales. That changes your 36,000 to 39,000. That's a whole a new employee. That's a whole new payroll. And of course, if you can just get that on the current people you have, everybody, including the salon, is making more money. So how does something like that happen? Well, I'll just tell you what I've heard from a lot of consultants out there. A lot of times people say, okay, you like to come in first week of the month. So we're gonna book you for May 5th. And next month, we're gonna book you for June 3rd because that's open. And July, we're gonna book you for July 7th. And okay, and they say, get away from that. Start booking them on the 4 weeks. For the customer, that feels like once a month, but it's every 4 weeks instead of once a month. By doing it every 4 weeks instead of once a month, you're going to get 13 visits instead of 12 visits. And all of a sudden, you have there's 3,000 in my example, 3,000 more sales. I've seen places that got 17,000 more sales, 20,000 more sales by bumping it 1 more visit a year, no matter what the number was. And so you
Gotcha.
focus on that. And it may not be worth it. You might change it from that number to a slightly larger number and say, boy, it's going to be really tough to get them to come in that more often, and this is the difference it makes to us. That's not worth it. Okay, that's fine. Lastly, that I want to mention about this, I did have a customer that contacted me, and I thought it was a problem. She wanted to talk about the fortune teller, and I knew that she was using it. She had been in a previous class, etc. And she said, the fortune teller didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. Okay? And I was like, uh-oh, here comes the why she's irritated. But it wasn't. It was exactly the opposite. Because what the fortune teller did, yes, it told her what she already knew, but it told her what she already thought she knew. By giving her the real numbers, she realized that her estimations were right on. Number one, that was a benefit to her, but this was what was important. She looked at the numbers and there was nothing she could really improve on. She was already maxing out her staff. They were booked all day long with, just break times in there as their breaks, but no gaps. She was maxing them out. And she had a really good average retail ticket. She had a really good average service ticket. She couldn't possibly change her frequency of visits and increase that because her staff was already maxed out. So the numbers that she was looking at were as good as they were going to get for what she was doing. And she said, so now I've got a couple of options if I want to make more money. By looking at this, I was able to tell that there's nothing more I can do here. I could raise my prices. Now I'm going to make more money, but by raising my prices, I would have to assume that everybody that's doing what they're doing is going to keep doing that. And that might not be the case. Once you raise prices, you might lose clients or as often as they come in or whatever it may be. These numbers might fluctuate if I simply raise prices. She said, I have been thinking about blowing out this wall and getting the office space next to me and expanding. And I just have never been able to pull the trigger because I just couldn't see the value in it. Once I saw these numbers, I realized that's exactly what I need to do. And she was thrilled. So she was actually calling to compliment it when, in essence, there was really nothing she could change to grow it. But she knew by expanding and putting in this many more chairs, etc., then she was able to stick in some more numbers, and she saw what the bottom line was going to be, and she realized that it was going to pay for itself in a very short period of time. And she was thrilled.
Gotcha.
So that's another way to look at it. But again, remember, what's important here is it's going to let you see into the future, basically. Change those numbers, see before you invest your time, before you invest your effort, before you invest your money, is the return worth it? And that's going to show you whether or not it's worth it.
Okay,
that's
question.
It. Please.
Do we have valuation of future appointments?
Yes. So if I go here to appointments and I go to my, let's see, which one is it? My appointment backlog. I can go into the future. I can go into the past as well, by the way, and I can see some really interesting stuff by going into the past. But let's go into the future here. I'm going to say from today to a week from today, and this is going to be by service, by dollar amount, and calculate. There it is. This is everything that I'm scheduled for that's going to be coming in. And I could say by operator, by dollar amount. Abigail, for that week, is scheduled to make $70. And of course, this is sample data. Your number is going to be very different. Anna's scheduled to make 60. Kathy's scheduled to make 200, etc. I can do it by hours booked. Abigail's only booked for an hour and a half. Anna's booked for an hour. Kathy's booked for an hour and 45 minutes. Debbie's booked for 5 hours and 45 minutes, etc. And same by service, by hours booked. I've got an hour and 45 minutes worth of Anna curls and blow dries, 2 hours worth of Anna curls and haircuts, 1 hour worth of back facials. So of course your number is going to be very different. Plug in the date you want and you can go into the future to look at it. You can also do something like this. This is going to look very different. I'm going to go into the past and I'm going to go here and change this number to, 0901 of 13 to 1001 of 13. So that's way back there, but you can just go a few weeks back if you wanted. And I'm going to calculate this. But let me show you why this is valuable. Okay, so here's some real data. I made $57,626 that month, okay, in bookings, etc. Now, this is by service, by dollar amount, what the services did for me. I can see that 30-minute massages made up 0.3% of everything I did. Acrylic tips made up 0.1% of everything I did. But look at this. My Color One Step for women made 17.4% of everything I did. So these numbers are going to really tell you what's moving and what's not, okay? Now I'm going to do this by operator, or even, by hours booked. But let's go by operator. I want to show you something here. Notice that Christian did 24.2% of all, that's right, 24.2% of all the business, $13,943 booked, okay? Debbie did $10,334 worth of business, or 17.9% booked. Now watch this. Hours booked. Oh, it wasn't Debbie it was Kathy I wanted. Let's go back. Kathy did 15.7% of all the dollars booked, 9,065. Christian, 13,943, or 24.2%. So let's focus on Kathy and Christian here. Christian made almost $4,000, almost $5,000 more than Kathy did. Okay? Hours booked. Kathy worked 31 more hours than Christian did. So she was booked 31 hours more than Christian, and Christian made almost $5,000 more. So this is a really good kind of, I don't want to call it a warning, but it's kind of a flag. What is Christian doing so right that Kathy isn't? And maybe it's really simple. Maybe Christian's doing a bunch of color services that are really expensive, and maybe Kathy's doing a bunch of haircuts that aren't. And maybe Kathy would like to learn some of that stuff, or maybe you just need to tell her, you know what, these people are coming in for haircuts with you, and you should be pushing colors too. Because look at the difference. You're working 31 hours more. That's almost a whole work week more than Christian worked. And Christian made $5,000 more than you. It's a huge difference. Now, that may not work at all. It may be because somebody is giving foot massages and somebody else is doing hair colors. The two of them will never do each other's jobs. I get it. But this is a great way for you to be able to see, I'll tell you what, I'd rather have 10 Christians than 10 Kathys, even though Kathy is working her butt off. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Fewer hours worked, more money made. What is he doing right? And then you can determine whether or not it's something that can be duplicated. Maybe it can't. And if it can't, fine. But at least you'll get that information. So again, how we got there, we went to reports, and from reports, we went to appointments, and from appointments, we went to appointment backlog. And you can go into the future with it, or you can go into the past with it.
Right.
And by the way, there's a lot of different appointment type reports here for you to look at. So feel free. Remember, all of the reports, you're going to be able to see them before they print. So for instance, if I went with my work schedule by operator order, put in a date, let's just go with today and accept that, then it's going to come up on our screen. So you don't need to print a million things out to see, the report. So I recommend view the reports, and you might say, wow, I didn't realize that report was in there. That's something that's really valuable to us. And then just keep it in mind for the future. There's over 300 different reports in here. I guarantee you have not seen all of them. So so play with them and see what they offer you. Because just to finish my thought, if you had in fact played with the reports, you would have asked the question you just asked about whether or not you could see booking values in the future. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to ask, how often do you do the trainings? Like, I got the email for the trainings,
every week.
And I know it goes to
every week, and it's really simple for you to know when they are. I'm glad that you got the email, but you shouldn't have to rely on that. If you go to our website, if you go to the Pro Solutions Software website and you go to support, we have training classes. So you click here, and you're going to fill this information in if you actually want to sign up. But if all you're trying to do is find something, just go here down to select a choice. And so here we are in October. And when we get to the last week of October, all of the November classes will be listed as well. Okay.
Now, it's typically usually like the same, so we did like the beginners and advanced. Now, like we don't do online booking, or I guess we could check out the Darcy marketing, but do they change? Will they
No,
change?
it's these
come
4
like
classes.
December? Will they get... Okay.
It's these 4 classes,
All
the
right.
beginner's class, the advanced class, the Darcy marketing class, and the online store class with the paired app. Those are the 4 classes that are offered every week, and they're on a different day every week. They're on a Monday, then the following week they're on a Tuesday, then the following week they're on a Wednesday. So next week they'll be on Wednesday, then the following week they'll be on a Thursday, then they'll start over again. We don't do them on Fridays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, so you can choose what date works best for you. Sign up for whatever classes you want to sign up for. You can sign up for all 4 in one day, or just one, or whatever you want. You can retake a class you've already taken. Now, if you have specific questions about something that isn't covered in one of these classes, then just schedule training with someone like me, like I said, like the points program, for instance.
Okay.
Remember, training and technical support is always free during regular business hours.
Cool. All right.
All right. Okay. Well, that's the class, unless you have any other questions for me.
Nope. I think that's it for right now.
Andrea, I want to thank you so much. Do you want this class emailed to you as well?
Sure.
Okay. Then you'll have both of them before the end of business today. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.